The president of the Senate of Mexico, Geraldo Fernandez Noronha, he actually has came out and said that LA is essentially Mexico. Furthermore, he said that he would actually pay for and build a border wall if that border was set back to the 1930 position, i.e., before before Texas became an independent republic, which later became a state. Yeah, he wants to take back the entire Southwest and put it inside of Mexico. Wow, guys. So that makes me beg the question when you see all these illegal immigrants waving the Mexican flag as they're standing on police cars and burning things around them. Is that an invasion? When you look at the numbers, 8 million crossed our border during President Joe Taterhead's administration. Sniffy Joe, is that an invasion? What is it? Or maybe it's also an insurrection, or maybe it's both. Because it's not just the people streaming across the border. Oh, they're getting a lot of help from native liberals. So that might smack of an insurrection, especially when you take into account the way some mayors and governors, like Governor Newsom of California, how they are flaunting federal law, say, hey, we'll do whatever we want. We'll do whatever we want. To heck with you. We're not going to abide by federal law. That smacks a bit of insurrection. So maybe we got some of both going on. Anyway, my friends, I'm going to share some stuff with you, and I'll let you make up your own mind and tell me what you think in the chat room below. But it's very interesting. It's also more complex than might first meet the surface. And I got to say this, look, before I share these articles, I got to say this. I'm for immigration as long as it's vetted. We need workers in this country, but we need the workers that we need. And we don't need what we need to reason we need to vet. We don't people coming in this nation with diseases like tuberculosis, which can infect our population here. We don't need people coming in this nation that are terrorists who may be in or join up with sleeper cells in this country that could attack us from within. That's the last thing we need. The next last thing we need is drug cartel members, people that are predisposed to crime in general. These are the people, of course, crossing the border illegally is a crime. So every one of them have committed a crime, technically speaking. But the ones that we need to get out of our country, first and foremost, if there's anybody infected with an infectious, deadly disease, yeah, they need to go. But primarily the people that might form sleeper cells. I don't care what race they are or where they're from. If you might be involved in a sleeper cell, bye-bye, get out of here. Get out of here. Now, my last wife was an immigrant from Kenya, but she got her citizenship. She went through all the due process. She's a good, hardworking lady. Nothing bad to say about her whatsoever. She was from Africa, from Kenya. Now, I got a granddaughter that's Mexican, half Mexican. So, it ain't about race. Which that's how the left wants to always castigate it, because that makes it all look bad. Oh, it's racist, racist. No, it's not. It's about control of our border to keep bad stuff out. So when you control the border, you also keep drugs out. We've been losing 100,000 Americans per year, somewhere in that order, due to fentanyl, and there's other drugs and abuse, and there's some new stuff coming in, all aided and abetted by our good friends over in the CCP in China. Oh my gosh, guys. So these are things that need to stop to save our lives, our property, and our peace and prosperity here at home. That's what it's all about. Do we need immigrants? Yeah, we need immigrants, but we need to vet who's coming in. What's so wrong with that? When you let in the drug cartel members, you let in people that might be joining terrorist cells, whether it be military-age young Chinese looking like soldiers, or they be people from certain Mid-Eastern affiliations, which highly suggest they might be forming up with these sleeper cells, as might be also the Chinese that I mentioned before. Now, I got nothing against Chinese either. I've dated about 3 Chinese women, fine people. There's an organization I ran in Huntsville I created, and it was my baby. I turned it over to a Chinese guy to be the president. Good man. I had no problem with that. So, guys, don't cast this as a race thing. It's not. It's a matter of security here at home, security and prosperity. That's what it boils down to. So let's cast all this other boulder dash aside and focus on what's important. See, the liberals want to dismiss everything and have their way by throwing out false allegations. And I'm sick and tired of hearing that mess. That's not what it is. Absolutely. And anytime they bring that up, just slap them in the face with what I just said. I don't literally slap them. Oh gosh, I may get all kind of trouble here on this video just because I've made some. No, don't do anything violent. Don't take violence into your hands. That was speaking figuratively. Do not take violence in your hands. Oh my gosh, I may get this video smacked. May kill my channel. Anyway, all that's aside, we're going to go in here and look at some articles just to show you what they might be. Have you heard of Aztlan? Oh yeah, Aztlan. Some of them might want that. But some of them might think they want it. See, the thing is, a lot of the Mexicans come in here think that this area is actually Mexico, should belong to Mexico. That's what they think. Even though they want to get out of Mexico, they want to return this to Mexico. What's the thinking there? Maybe we can help them, educate them, so they change their mind about these things. Because I think really and truly they're going to understand and get a better deal in the United States than they ever would from Mexico. But anyway, all that aside, and the states within the United States than any state in the Mexican system federation. And we're not run by drug cartels. Not yet. Let's hope we don't get that way. That's why we got to control our border. All right, let me share some articles here. So when you see a picture like this, what do you think? What do you think with a picture like this? A lot of people seen this picture and they've commented. It's been used throughout social media over and over and over again. And a lot of people were saying this and other pictures from the LA rights that this is an invasion. And in a sense, it is. It is. What kind of invasion is it? Well, that's where the debate lies. But it's like this guy saying here, just saying this doesn't look like the person that is abiding by the law. This doesn't look like a person that's abiding by the law. So why wave a flag of a country you flee from and actually want to stay in America? So the whole point is, you want to stay in America, yet you wave the flag of the country you fled. Well, I'm going to explain that to you in a little bit. I will give you guys some input on that, as you're about to see as we flip through these charts. And again, look, big crowds. Invasion, you remember all the big crowds that were crossing the borders at places, all these little marches, and coming here in the United States, and here they are all over the place putting out their protests, their riots, putting up Mexican flags. Mexican flags, really? So, let's underscore what I was talking about earlier. This is the article about the Mexican Senate president saying LA is essentially Mexico. I didn't make this stuff up, guys. I'm sure to show you that I didn't make it up. So I'll pay for the wall if you see the entire U.S. Southwest of Mexico. Now, how many people in the United States would want that? Well, we're going to say it. Now, here he is, Geraldo Fernandez Noronha. Yeah. So he's making these claims. So, there is something to this. Now, some people, and I got to admit, some people are saying that this is just political stuntsmanship that he's making. There's nothing real behind it. He is just trying to grandstand on, politically. Now, that may be. But this is what they're talking about, guys. This is what they want to take. Do you live in any of these states? If you live in any of these states and would like to see it returned to Mexico, put a 1 in the chat room below. If you live in any of these states, and would like to not see it return to Mexico or become an independent Aztlan country, put a 2 in the chat room. All right. If you don't live in these states and would like to see it become part of Mexico, put a 3 in the chat room. If you don't live in these states and would like to see it remain in America, put a 4 in the chat room. I might make some exception for LA. San Francisco. Maybe we can give them those cities. Here, you can have these if you just leave us alone. Oh, Lord. Of course, that might mean you'd have to give them a strip of the coast all the way up to San Fran. So a lot of Californians don't even want to be a part of the same state that's got Los Angeles in it. Can you blame them? What a hole. Anyway, so we got to talk about this Aztlan. Aztlan. It's a myth. Some of them think that it's got to do with Aztec land. Some of them, think that the entire Southwest belonged to the Aztecs because, well, it's Mexico, Aztecs are Mexico, but no, that's not true. Not at all true. As a matter of a fact, uh, the tribes that are here in the Southwest today were the tribes that were here then, not the Aztecs. It was the Navajo, the Apache, and other tribes that were here. So, to say it all should be Aztec and go to Mexico because it's Aztec. That's a total misrepresentation of everything. But see, this is what's called a Chicano movement. This is a movement of people that want to take this land and put it back into either Mexico or make an independent country out of it, pushing the Chicano agenda in the United States. And it's not just the well, here they're talking about Latinos in the United States are increasing to learn the Mexican view of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, and when they go to college, an indoctrination into the Latino Aztlan heritage. So they're taught this crap in school there. But the reality is, no international. See, Mexico hasn't had any claim over the Southwest since that treaty. But see, they want to take more than what that treaty gave them. That treaty did not give them Texas because Texas had already seceded from Mexico by their own right, fighting a war of independence with Mexico, and then later joined the United States. So, this treaty did not deal with Texas, but you can see their maps always pull Texas in. And here even they talk about Texas, even though Texas was not part of that treaty, because Texas had already been seceded from Mexico and joined the United States. But anyway, so that's what they want to do. They want to take the entire Southwest back. And, it says clear here there's a fifth column movement in the United States that professes greater allegiance to a greater Mexico or a breakaway separatist movement based on a Latino homeland. Despite efforts of Latino politicians to miss all this is, just some rambunctious Latino youth thing. So there is a movement there. It's taught in their colleges, apparently. So, this could actually have some traction as a planned invasion with an end goal of separating states from, you can find this on Wikipedia, and this kind of goes more into the root of it, not so much into the current, you can see there's brown berets, movements that are formerly used the concept. Yeah. La Casa, remember the guy that was handing out the gas mask at the LA riots? La Casa, brown berets. Wow. What about that? So that does show potential connection right there. So there's several groups in here that are cited. Freedom Road to Socialist Organizations. Wouldn't you know there'd be socialism mixed in with this? There's no freedom. I hate to tell you guys, there's no freedom road to socialism. The road to socialism has got nothing to do with freedom. It's a departure from freedom. It's enslavement. And socialism is not what they tell you. Anyway, so much for that. Let's go through a couple of these. I'm not going to be long on this video. Is this what you want? You want the Aztec culture to rule the entire Southwest? You know what the Aztecs did to people? Human sacrifice. Aztec society was brutal, very brutal. They conquered tribes all around them with warfare. And, you ever seen the movie Apocalypto? Is that the country you want to live in? Even Mexico's above that today, but why do you call it Aztlán? Is this what you want to bring back? So here they are. They're fighting for the country they refuse to live in. Isn't that a thing there? So, let's. I'm going to end this, but in terms of the presentation, I'm going to keep talking though. So let's just kind of think about some statistics here, some numbers, some overall where this is going. In Mexico, the homicide rate is 24.9 per 100,000 people. In the United States, the homicide rate is 6.3 per 100,000 people. So the homicide rate in Mexico is 4 times greater. Mexico is pretty much ruled by the drug cartels. Is that what you want? Or do you want to get away from that? Well, the drug cartels are really pushing this because they've slipped across our border in the last few years and they're causing a lot of mayhem in this country. And we ought to get them out of here. We just ought to get them out. But it's not just it's not just homicides. In Mexico, they have a lot more criminal activity, kidnappings, and abuse than we have here in the United States. Far more. And other areas are even worse, far more numerically, percentage-wise, than homicides. I just thought I'd pick on homicides as people really can identify with that as a crime quite purely, quite readily. But so that's the kind of stuff we're talking about, my friends. And furthermore, you got to remember there was in 1990. See, a lot of people said, "Well, you're departing them with that due process, blah blah blah." They've only brought this up during the Trump administration. They forget that President Bill Clinton signed a bill in 1996 called the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act. And what's that act do? It takes away due process. It says, hey, for some of these guys, we can just get them the heck out of the border. And it allows the lower level ICE and Custom Border Patrol people to do this. Yeah, at the lower level, right at the border. Turn around and get out of here. Or if they come in, you're out, you're out. So, as a matter of fact, the funny thing is, they're all attacking Trump. They're all attacking Trump. You realize Joe Biden deported more illegals than Trump? No, there's less illegals coming across the border during Biden's administration. 8 million at least, in the lowest count numbers. Some people think it's a lot bigger. Well, he deported 1.3 million, believe it or not. Far more than Trump. Trump's only deported in the hundreds of thousands. They both administrations. Oh my God. So why are they burning the streets over Trump? It's a show. It's a power play. That's all it is. That's all it is. You know who deported the most illegal immigrants? Barack Obama. Barack Obama. Over 3 million deportations. Did anybody say anything about that? No. No. It was okay when Barack Obama was doing it. But when Donald Trump tries it, the world's coming to an end. What hypocrisy. What hypocrisy. That's really what it boils down to. And one of the big reasons that Sniffy Joe let all these people come across the border was they're trying to change demographics. They're trying to change how states vote, especially borderline states. They want to flip them because they're trying to create a pure one-party system in the United States. All one-party systems are corrupt to the hilt. So, that is a problem. They want to flip this country permanently blue. That is part of the problem. Well, that's just a part of it. There's another piece. I was reading years ago how the world elite, our good friends in the Burger Builders Club, I said that backwards, and the House of Klaus Schwab, if you know what I'm talking about, the likes of them promoting through NGOs. Oh yeah, NGOs factored into this, promoting that they wanted massive immigration to all Western countries because the Western countries are going to be the most resistive to falling under a brand new global governance system, giving up your rights, your freedoms. Remember, you'll have no privacy. You'll own nothing, have no privacy. Oh, you'll enjoy it. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. If you don't enjoy it, we'll eliminate you. So if you manage to survive, you'll enjoy it by definition. What? I don't know where they're coming up with this stuff. Anyway, so my friends, one, the United States is a powerful nation. Each state in the United States is a powerful state. Some of them are, seem to have lost their way, like California, Illinois. They've lost their way because they've been too much on the woke side, but the people there are probably going to wake up that say, we got enough of this mess. We got to get rid of this. I hope that's the case. California might be the hardest case to flip on that, but let's hope they wake up. Even immigrants, when they come to the United States, Look at all the Hispanics that voted for Trump. Once they get here, get settled in and go, wait a minute. Family values, law and order versus this? Yeah, we're going here. So, the Mexican people are hardworking people. Most Latinos are hardworking. They have a good sense of family and religion, except for the drug cartel people. The ones I tell you, we got to keep out. We got to get them out. The ones that are here now, we need to get them out. But no, the left wants to fight for them. Remember the Michigan man? Well, he was a dad from Michigan, even though he had a keep away order from his ex because of abuse charges. Yeah, and then there's a human trafficking charges and just all kind of mess associated with that guy. Oh, the left wants to defend these guys to the help. Anybody. Don't give a darn what kind of cartel or sleeper cell affiliation they have. They love them all. Yeah, we love criminals. I don't know, guys. They love to do criminal activity. Let's go break some cars, police cars, and burn down some stores. Yeah. Yeah. Put our point and get people to favor us. Is this some like mental illness? Like who wants that? Who wants that? Who really wants a society like that? Nobody in their right mind. We want peace and prosperity, peace, law and order, not, the boot of a thug on your neck from the government, not like a lot of your isms that we know of, communism and NAZ-ism. I'm not going to say it over here because you got to watch what I say, and I've already stepped on it a little bit too much in here. I was just making a joke illusion. But anyway, all that aside, guys, we need to educate the ones that remain here to kind of deprogram them from what they were taught back there. That, look, why did you come here? You came here because there's opportunity. Some of you, except the drug gang guys, they got their own opportunity, but it's terrible stuff. Not what we want. But, it's because we have a free enterprise system. We have and economics. We have a republic in terms of governance. We take law and order seriously. We don't like gangs. Mexico could be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Demographically, they've got a young population that is quite skilled and capable of doing manufacturing and stuff. They could take the business of China away from China and being right here next to the United States, are already our biggest trading partner. If we were to go in there, if I was president of the United States, I'd go to Mexico. I'd talk to the president and said, look, here's the deal. You can keep sponsoring these stupid drug cartels, and I'm going to kick your every way I can, legally. But let's make a deal. The thing is, you could also be the most prosperous nation around, and we will help you get there because we need a good partner. We need good, solid demographics on our continent here, and we need a good, solid partner. And you could be the best and would serve us both very well. I think a lot of people want to go back to Mexico. Suddenly, that's where the job opportunity. You'd see us guys like me going to Mexico. Well, maybe younger ones, because Mexico could have some serious opportunities. They could out China. But part of the deal would have to be that you don't have an allegiance with China. Because China is our biggest threat, existential threat to humanity. A lot of people aren't seeing this. So, that'd be part of the deal. So, look, you deal with us, not them. And we'll help build you up. But, let's get rid of this drug stuff. I mean, who wants to invest in a country ruled by drug cartels? Put in a lot of industry. Nobody. It's killing their economy. I mean, right now, it's such a big fraction of their economy that they're having a hard time weaning themselves off of because they got so much control. But it's terrible for Mexicans. It would serve Mexico best to get rid of these cartels because people down there are living in fear of the tyranny of the cartels. Yeah. I had a Mexican friend I was talking to, and she was reporting to me hearing bombing or grenades or something in her community. It was cartel associated activities. And she lived in Monterey in a really nice area, just her and her mom. Not the kind of stuff you want to have to deal with. Not the kind of stuff any civilized person have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that homicide rate that's probably underreported because when the cartels get rid of people, they just throw them in mass graves. They don't report anything. Just come up missing. So I think that number is actually low. Anyway, enough said. So what the bottom line is, I think we could cut a deal with Mexico, but beyond that, in terms of the people that are coming here, I think we could say, look, guys, look at the value proposition of being in America versus going back to Mexico. You left a heck hole, and then you want to make this part of that heck hole. I'm trying to be civil here. Really? Or even to create your own little, Chicano nation here. Yes, the drug cartels will probably take over, and you're going to be in this very similar situation for too long. So look, you got a much better value proposition just to leave things the way they are and and melt into the melting pot and become a U.S. citizen and acquire a love of freedom and liberty. That's where your opportunity lies, not in all this other nonsense. But it may be up to us in part to educate that. Start, meet these people, talk with them. A lot of them are good people, unless they got gang member markings on them, you better keep away. Although I see these guys, well, I'll cut jokes on them. I do. I'll cut jokes on them. I get them laughing. Why not? Anyway, just have a little fun. But you know what? That beats throwing arrows. It beats shooting bang bangs, firing nugs at each other. What's up? We don't get down to that. We don't need a civil war in this country in any shape, form, or fashion. Civil wars are awful. They're horrible. Nobody needs it. We don't need foreign wars. We don't need civil wars. We need to get out of this war business. Bye-bye, Bill, Mr. Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal, you nut war hawk nut jobs. Anyway, if you disagree with me, all, just put a 7 in the chat room and explain why. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Look, guys, get your garden ready. Go to Tree Leaf Market. I'll put the links below. So that is one thing you can still do and for your own independence. With that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. And please subscribe to my channel. Bang the update notification bell and click all. Greg out.